All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. For the next Fireside Chat, we welcome SKYX Platforms, ticker symbol of SKYX on the NASDAQ. My name is Robert Bloom, managing partner here at Lytham Partners. For this next Fireside Chat, we're going to switch things up just slightly. I'm going to turn the reins over to Chris Abbott. Chris is a portfolio manager at 1035 Capital Management. For those not familiar, Chris and I have had a few discussions in the past at a few of our events, focused on the broader micro-cap markets and trends. If you have a chance or haven't had a chance yet to view some of those, I would encourage you to find those either on YouTube or on our corporate access portal. Fast forwarding, Chris and I ran into each other at a conference here the other day and talked about having him moderate this panel. So here we are today. Chris, thank you so much. And of course, Lenny, thank you so much for your participation as well. I'm going to move aside and turn the floor over.
Thanks, Rob, for the opportunity. And today I've got the pleasure of sitting down with Lenny Sokolow, co-CEO of SKYX. I think the company is really at a pivotal moment as it accelerates adoption of its innovative Sky Plug and smart home platform, which was why I was interested in doing this fireside chat with you today, Lenny. But with that being said, welcome, and it's great to speak with you.
Well, thank you. And thank you very much, Robert and the Lytham team. And I appreciate your moderating, Chris.
My pleasure. Well, maybe we should start at the beginning. What's the core problem SKYX is solving, and how does your solution uniquely address it?
Well, we're addressing probably the oldest problem that hasn't been solved and hadn't been solved until we came along in the home and buildings with respect to putting in fixtures and that have any weighted kind of device attached to it, like a light or a fan. And we have so many technological developments in the last 100 years, but this is the last bastion of old school technology where you had to wire from the junction box 3 wires and twist them and then to install any kind of fixture in the ceiling to get power and to get the best location for light and for fans, etc. And we've developed a very elegant receptacle and plug that and once the receptacle is put in with 3 wires, easily installed probably within a minute and screwed into the junction box, and anything to plug into it really takes a minute or so just to click in, and you've totally lit up your appliance, your fixture or fan or whatever it may be in the future.
I always think about it as the GFCI outlet for lights as opposed to the wall outlet, right?
Yeah, exactly. And with respect to, as you discussed, the GFCI, which was about 40 years ago, became a standard, for homes or buildings with respect to wet areas and kitchens now and basements and bar areas. That became a mandatory because it was all about safety. And so the reason why we're now in 10 paragraphs in the National Electrical Code, and we've become a standard, is because of safety and the fact that according to the National Fire Protection Association, which is the umbrella organization to the NEC, there are hundreds of deaths a year just caused by fires that started in the ceiling from fixtures that weren't put in correctly. And we know that the hazardous incidents are a lot more. They're not recorded: ladder falls, electric shocks, etc. And so we've solved not only an age-old problem of installation, but we've solved a very big safety issue. And so that's what makes it very exciting.
Absolutely. I was going to come to this later, but since we kind of stumbled into it, you guys are one vote away from making this not only a standard, a mandated NEC standard, which would mean, like the GFCI, you'd have to be installed in all new homes as well as all regulated, renovations at a home. Can you discuss what's left in your process to become mandated? How much you've put into that, and then I think on your most recent earnings call at the end of the year, you also discussed a potential additional pathway for NEC approval?
Sure. So this process has been over 12 years. So for a company to go through this and come up with a solution and get into the National Electrical Code as we are already, it's been a 12-year process. And getting 10 paragraphs, and then subsequently we've gotten the approval by ANSI, which is the American National Standardization Institute, and that has to do with buildings and standards like rebar and concrete that go into buildings. We've been approved as a standard by ANSI, as well as NEMA, the National Electrical Manufacturers Association. So we've checked all the boxes, and the last one with respect to the NEC has been is mandatory. So right now, as we speak, what we've accomplished is a historical result of having the definition of a receptacle being changed, not only from a wall outlet where you plug in your lamp or your charger, which is the original definition of a receptacle over 100 years ago, to now a second defined receptacle in the National Electrical Code being our receptacle, the receptacle that the plug goes into. So when we redefine that, and that has allowed us today to get for a builder to get the certificate of occupancy just by having the receptacle in our receptacle as well, our outlet, as well as like a wall outlet. But the next thing is the one of the committees on the National Electrical Code approving us for mandatory. And we know we've checked all the boxes, and now we're going through the process. But what's been an interesting development recently is that we've gotten some very senior level, high level assistance from a very influential and knowledgeable professional who has opened the opportunity where we now understand there's about 4 other avenues for getting mandatory that is available to us. Any one of those could be a factor, and so that is a change. It also one avenue could be having influence on the NEC itself, let alone other organizations that have the ability to grant mandatory. We've achieved what we needed to. We've proven what we needed to do, and now we've kind of got to get through the bureaucracy of this. And the industry is generally given about 2 years to adopt. But once it's formulated as mandatory, all of the manufacturers, et cetera, have to start getting ready and acquiring supplies and of course perhaps licensing our technology. So we'll feel it immediately, even though, let's say, the mandatory date may be deferred. So we're very excited about this development. And there's precedent for this, and it's been a new development for us in a really positive way. It's increased our likelihood. For us, we believe it's a question of when we get mandatory, not if. But now our pathways for that have been multiplied.
It's great to have more shots on goal, to use the hard
exactly.
Analogy. So
Exactly.
Great. Well, maybe I'll parlay the regulatory side and say, maybe you can walk us through kind of your go-to-market strategy. I know you guys acquired the Bellamy lighting websites, and then obviously the retail partnerships with Home Depot and Wayfair recently. So maybe we should touch on that.
It's the multiple channels that we've targeted and that we're executing on. So we started with the websites, and where we have over 60 lighting and home decor websites. It gave us a platform to be able to market and educate what our product is, how it works, how it gets installed, And using that model of, we call it lead and seed. So we're leading the market, and we're taking third-party manufacturers' product, and we're enabling consumers initially to buy with our retrofit kit and make it plug and play. And so we've accelerated those sales, and we started to just do it with the high-end items. And as we're landing more and more product now, ready to go and ready to be installed. And so those websites primarily have been serving the B2C market, to the consumer. We just hired Huey Long, who worked at Amazon e-commerce. He had started actually Amazon Basics, Walmart, Ashley Furniture, that went online. They're very big in wholesale, not just retail. And he has built $1 billion business with Ashley Furniture. And we're going to be using our websites to support our B2B model. So as we go traditional way to builders and developers, where we could supply product directly, et cetera, there's a very big and a growing trend for builders and the professional to be buying these products online. So Home Depot is seeing that as well, not just consumers, but the builders and the developers buying it online. So our plan is to continue to build out our websites, our 60 websites, to support the B2B and the B2C. And so that's a really important aspect. So as a channel, the builder, the pro is important. We've targeted not just when we announced many projects that we've launched and will be launching, to include the commercial and real estate development and builders, and also to hotels, which we've already begun to supply as we plan to help hotels, because they're required to renovate every 7 years, 5 to 7 years, some are earlier than 7. And so we think that that's a great channel, on the commercial development side. Then we go to the big box where we're doing retail. Right.
I can only imagine there's quite the backlog in the hotel upgrades via.
There is. And with COVID, even more delayed with some of these hotels. And then we've got the big box where we're selling to already Home Depot and others, that will come online, we believe. And as well as as we get to the other websites like a Wayfair, which we've announced the collaboration, so that they all have seen how we're selling online, with our plug and play solution, and they're very much part of that growth and our growth strategy. And they're feeling, the lighting companies are realizing that the velocity of their lighting sales or turnover, people wanting easily replacing their fixtures by clicking them in and clicking them out, it becomes more fashion oriented, and that their time for replacing fixtures, is going to move, below 10 years to, where today maybe 10 to 12, but we think it's going to be much lower. So it becomes more of the fashion, and I'm tired of these outdoor lights or these sconces, and you just replace them because it's so easy. You don't need an electrician, etc. You just click them in and click it out. Yeah. What we're doing is
much lower.
In all these sales initially, we're getting the receptacles out there. So that's we call that our razors, right? So we've announced that by the end of this quarter, the Q1 of 2025, we will have about 20,000 out there in the US and in Canada.
Yeah.
Right. And so we think that throughout the year, we'll be adding tens of thousands more. And Great. Once you have the receptacle in, then it becomes very interchangeable. And it's because we know that anything that plugs into that is our technology as well. and anything that's smart or a sensor or a chip or a sound that plugs in, that connects to either side, the receptacle or the plug, is our patents. So I like to say all roads lead to Rome. So we know that no matter what gets plugged into it, we're gonna benefit from it from a revenue perspective.
All roads lead to SKYX.
Exactly. Exactly.
That was a great overview of your multi-pronged sales strategy, and I think it's one of my favorite things about the company is just the strategy into how to lead and enter into the market has been really quite sound, in my opinion. But I noticed you forgot one of the most exciting parts, which is the GE licensing deal. So
Yeah,
maybe we can touch on that as well.
right. That's a really good question. I didn't forget it, but it's never do. But it's ultimately, once we're mandatory, by the way, this will be global because 20 to 30 countries automatically follow our national electrical code, the code provisions. But the way we scale and the way we enable other manufacturers and distributors is to license our technology, and that's really an important part of our strategy. And it gives us leverage. We're not manufacturing and supplying the world. It's an open platform. We know that from models of Apple and what we learned about the Sony Betamax and the VHS tapes, that it doesn't pay to keep everything in your pocket with respect to intellectual property. So the licensing that we're working with GE is not exclusive, and there's opportunities for us to license, with or without GE, to third parties around the world. And so we're very excited about that, and we think that the margins are great. We target about 85% the margins. That's our intellectual property. We have global patents, so we feel very good about this part of the business as we scale. So thanks for asking.
Yeah, of course. It's funny, I talk to so many small companies, and in many cases that would be all we would talk about. But in this case, we've got so many different partners, so many big names, so many different things going on. I had to remind you about the GE
No,
licensing
it's fair enough.
That's great, though. I mean, obviously, so much going on. One of the big milestones I've been looking for a long time, and I think we're almost there, is broadening the assortment beyond just the pendant lights into the wall sconces, the
Right.
exit lights, all the interesting lights that make this a program that then the builders and the hoteliers could use, and maybe the insurance guys get
Right.
involved with.
Right.
So where are we in kind of broadening that category coverage, and how do we think that rolls out over the next?
Well, that's been a critical element to, supplying the hotels and the big developers. We have the fairly broad range already of the pendants, indoor lighting. We've landed already the wall sconces for indoor and outdoor, where they're ready to go. And then in production are our fans and then the surface mount, the hi-hats, the spots, which we have global patents on, and those are, in that market, it's billions of units. And those are also standard and smart. And then exit signs, because the hotels and the developers need those, and the emergency lights. And just take an exit sign, for example. Those have to be maintained and inspected at least once a year, because there's a backup battery in those. It's like put in like an old school fixture. So you have the electrician come, there's wires, you got to cut off the power. But with our solution, a maintenance person could come and click out the old exit sign and click in the new one, bring the old one back to the warehouse and check the battery. They get damaged quite often in some of these buildings and hotels, and same thing with the emergency lights. So the solution, the big developers and the hoteliers have really, like the whole idea. And you can imagine how many hi-hats they have and spots in those big buildings and ballrooms, etc. And those are all LED.
I've recently gotten into the habit of counting lights whenever I go into a room, and it's surprising how many lights there are.
There is compared to wall outlets, people don't realize that it's a 6 to 10x times.
Yeah.
So it's really really amazing on that. And so and as we speak about the hotels, we raised in a preferred round at a $2 conversion price above market, a premium to market. We raised 11 million, now 12 million, with Lance Shaner, the Shaner Group that's owns 60 Marriotts and 20 Hiltons, to invest in what does he know that we don't know? He knows he's not number one going to be a consumer buyer of our product. And he obviously believes in what he does. And with his hotels, he's got renovations happening, all the time, right, in cycles. So
there's
we're
that
very,
COVID backlog.
it was another validation. We've got a lot of major developers that are shareholders that have put in strategic capital. So they all get it, and they all see that this is a great solution for what they have. And this is all before mandatory. So our opportunity in terms of getting to our TAM, our total addressable market, is huge without mandatory, and with mandatory, it becomes kind of astronomical, and that from a accomplishment perspective.
Well, you sort of stole my next question out of my mouth, which was, do you need NEC mandatory for this to be successful? But clearly not.
No.
So this is great. And then the next thing I'm really excited about, specifically a product that you guys have that I think is really unique, is the turbo fan/heater. I plan on doing a renovation, so maybe you can give me some sort of idea when to start it, when that's going to hit stores.
Sure. And we have it's a unique, one of a kind. We have the global patents for a four-season all-in-one fan that has a turbo heater underneath it, under the fan. It's part of the fan. So you're getting the heater that everyone has on the floor that's a fire hazard, because this is all about safety as well. And it's now part of the fan, so you use the fan in the winter, and the heat, and the fan in the summer, and the heat in the winter. And you've got not only a four-season, but one that people could save energy, because they could just heat their bedroom and not the whole house, right? So in a very safe way. So we're looking at the second half of 25 to actually start selling those. We think we know the margins are strong on those. We target over 50% or more. And it's part of the component where we believe it'll get us to cash flow positive in the second half of 2025, which has been part of our expectation that we've put out publicly. So it's an important part, and there's no one else has it. It'll be smart as well, so it'll have the smart features. You could use Alexa, Google, you could talk to it. It'll have an emergency light, just like our generation 2. And so we also have another product, which you may not have seen, Chris, called the Fandelier. Now it's beautiful. It's a light round light. It's got a fan in the middle of it. It's a fan and a light that's very, very, very attractive. And so that'll be another product that we're getting really great response from, and it's our invention as well. Again, works in with a smart smart option.
Plenty of breaking news at Lytham here.
Yeah, the Fandelier. So it's really exciting. And so as we start to open up the minds of the other developers, the fact that we'll license this, that we'll have the receptacles in the ceilings and sconces ready to go, and all you need is something else to plug into it, like a light or a fan, and someone else is going to invent something, and they're going to license it so they could plug it into our outlet.
It's a whole ecosystem on the
It's
ceiling.
an ecosystem. Could be anything. So we'll have in our generation 3, we'll have a lot of other features, because it's voice activated. We could have 911, different things.
When should we expect generation 3 to be available? Now that we've just got a couple of minutes, I'll leave it with that one.
Yeah, well, I think to be conservative in terms of actual sales, I think we're looking at, maybe, 2026, early 2026.
That's fair. It sounds like you've got a lot of on your plate with expanding the product lineup, and then you've got the turbofan heater and the fandelier coming.
Right.
It's a lot for the second half of 25. So
yeah, and that's really where it's all about focusing on the product and landing it, and that's really, if there's any shifting of deliveries or et cetera, it has an impact on revenues, but it's not a catastrophic one. It may sales may be in the quarter earlier or quarter later than we thought, but it's we're confident that we're going to benefit.
well, as a guy who's followed the company for a long time, I've been pleased with the progress you guys have made. Yes, certainly there's been delays that have come along from kind of things that have happened outside of your control, chip shortages, COVID, et cetera. And now we're kind of staring down tariffs, but I think you guys have done a good job of executing to your goals, and the vision of the company is just fantastic, and I can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah, thank you. It's exciting.
All right, with that, I'll turn it back over to Rob and let him wrap up.
Fantastic. Well, Chris, thank you so much for stepping in and moderating, lending. Of course, thank you so much for your participation here in the event. Appreciate it as well. I'll say to everyone watching here, if you have any questions, would like to schedule a meeting here with SKYX, you can shoot me an email, Bloom, BLUM, at lythampartners.com, and I'll go ahead and route that over to the company here. We have additional presentations and fireside chats coming up next, so please stick around for more. Again, Chris, Lenny, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Lenny. Bye.
Bye.